This project's going to require some sugar for my brain. Hey there, it's Bobi, aka Paginator, and today we're going to finish the prompts for our Spring into Summer Junk Journaling Challenge. Thank goodness, because this paper is about destroyed. So I started off by saying my brain needs a little bit of sugar, and I'm going to do a little non-sponsored product endorsement for you right now, because when I find good things, I like to share them. So this is Bear Lake Raspberry Taffy from Taffytown. They do have a website. It is taffytown.com. Bear Lake Raspberry is special to me because I grew up going to Bear Lake every summer. I drive past there on a way to see my family quite often. If it's good weather and stuff, I'll go that way because the lake is so beautiful. I'll put a little picture up here for you to see one I took recently. Bear Lake is a lake that is on the Utah-Idaho border, and there are beaches and you can go fishing and all kinds of stuff. And the community is known for raspberries. They grow tons. They have a celebration every summer called Raspberry Days. And this taffy is made with real fruit. When you eat it, you can taste the raspberries in there. It is freaking delicious. So there's your little non-paid commercial for Taffytown. Before I have my sugar, let's review what prompts we still need to do for June. Please excuse the mess that this paper has become. All right. Number 3 is where we need to pick up. Page tabs, multiple, meaning make more than one page tab, and lace. 4, altered book page and florals. And 5, loaded tag and bright pop of color. We will, of course, be working in this journal that Janie made. It is now mine to keep forever and ever. We have both made things in them. Here's my altered paper clip that I made last time. And we have lots of space to work. In terms of page tabs, I'd like the base to be something fairly neutral, and then we can add some decorations and lace and that kind of stuff. There's hardly anything hanging off the pages, so we could make quite a few. This journal has 4 signatures, so it would be nice if I made 1 or 2 tabs for each of the signatures. And let's go ahead and get started. I've got some large pieces of paper. This one has kind of a wood grain pattern on it, just white on the other side. This one is like a yellowish crossword puzzle, which I don't love, but this side is kind of cool. It's like math flashcards. It's got some good neutrals on there. But I'm also thinking that maybe I need to use some of this. This paper is Tim Holtz paper, and it is gorgeous. And I've been hoarding it because, you know, Tim Holtz stuff is not cheap. But if you don't use your good stuff, what's the point in having it, right? This right here is my very favorite. I have fabric in this as well, and I just love it. So I think, I mean, and why did he put this print on the back side? I don't want to use both of them. But since there's so much neutral in this journal, I think we should make some with this. I have this page tabs punch. I also have one like this that does more of a whale tail shape. But I'd kind of like to make my own page tabs. So I need to find my notch punch for that. So this is an envelope punch board from We Are Memory Keepers, but it does a nice notch. So I will test it on just a scrap here and show you. I'll cut that shape there. What I need to do then is decide like the width that I want my page tabs. Do I want them to be a bit wider? Can I get 2 out of this? Like 2 widths? Or I could do a narrow one, maybe get 3 widths. Okay, this paper is 8 inches wide. You know what? Let's do some wide tabs. Let's just cut this in half. Let's do 4 inches wide. Okay, if we cut these into 2-inch strips, then we should be able to get 8 here. Next, I want to score these so that they are scored down the middle like this.
Under lilac skies we paste and glue rainbows made from scraps that feel brand new. Threads of lace and floral waves collide.
Okay, these are all scored. This one is slightly not quite in half, but it doesn't matter because it's going on like two sides of a page. No one will know. Now we're gonna bring in this punch that we looked at before. And I'm going to line up the end of the tab and punch. And there we go. We have a lovely tab shape. Now we can punch it somewhere higher up here and have like a bit of a straight edge. But I think I just wanna do the tabs on the ends of all of these. Does that make sense? So we could have punched up here and then had a little bit more of a long edge there and then it would slope up, but I just like it like this. So I'll go ahead and punch the rest of those.
In our crafted world, we'll always confide. Tuck spots hold the dreams we've spun. Pockets brimming with the morning sun. Journaling cards tell tales untold. Springtime whispers in a heart of gold. Vintage photos cradled by our hands. Ephemera maps to forgotten lands. Pages stitched with loops of laughter song. Every corner proves where hearts belong.
Okay, they are all notched and inked, and now we need to decorate, and of course we have to address the lace part of the prompt. All right, here's our plan. I have made a stack of these, kind of put them in order, separating like the super darkest ones and stuff so that we don't have the darkest in the middle. I'll show you what I mean. So this is the very bottom of the stack. It's quite dark, and then at about the middle, we have our other one that's super dark. Okay, and then we've got some light ones here. You see what I mean, I'm sure. I have a box with some lace pieces, and I have several trinkets and bits and bobs and things. And what I want to do is decide what pages are going to get tabs and then add a piece of lace and something else to each of those page tabs. So we need to decide. I like to have kind of fairly consistent when I put page tabs. So we want to do maybe somewhere around the middle of the signature and maybe the end of the signature. And it doesn't have to be like the exact end. For example, this page would be fine because there's nothing already on it. But if I've created something that has a lot of depth and bulk and stuff and I don't need a page tab, then I wouldn't have to put it on exactly the middle or exactly the last page. But as a general rule, we're going to stick to that. So middle, I'm going to put one here. And I want to look at what's already there on the page in terms of how much we decorate and so on. I'm gonna let this side that says London, here, I'll move this, stay in frame. Let this side that says London be on this page because I don't want to cover that up. And I also don't want to add all the decoration here because we already have this beautiful lady to look at. So most of the decoration will be here on this side where there's more plain space. So we know what page it's going to go on. This is going to require a lot of me moving the camera in and out of, or moving the journal in and out of frame. My apologies if it is annoying. Hopefully I can cut most of the moving around out in editing. So this side, not the one that says London, is the one we want to decorate. Now this lace is quite white. I could have got some aged lace, but this particular box of lace pieces I have had sitting around for ages and I really want to use them. So I'm just going to start like pulling pieces and see what happens. So I'll kind of talk through this first one and then I might not do as much talking on the rest. Let's just kind of take it as we go. So we've done this strip of lacy flowers. And then I do want to have some kind of focal point. I have this bowl that's got some really flat wooden beads. Some are butterfly shaped, some are more round like mandala kind of things. And there is a little hint of kind of a purplish pink on the page. So maybe a button like this would be nice. Or this butterfly. I like the shape of the butterfly, but I don't like the bit of yellow that we can see here on the wings. I am being picky, I know. I think I like this button the best. I couldn't find a butterfly that I really liked. This one has some cool flower petals in it. So we'll go with that. And I think that'll do it. It doesn't have to be anything super complicated on all of your pages. As much as I hate to cover up this gorgeous Tim Holtz paper, we have to glue the page tab down, so I'll use that print that was on the other side on the other piece that I have for something else. And now we're gonna glue this side. Okay, so there's page tab number 1, both sides. We'll flip ahead to the end of the signature. Okay, so actually I had a thought. What if I just make the page tabs and glue them in and then come back and show you all at the same time? That probably would be easier for both of us, me and you. So let's do that. Are you ready to see the page tabs? I realized that I could have shown you the entire process for making all of the tabs, but honestly, sometimes I just need to work without having to narrate everything. I can think better that way and stuff, so we're just gonna do this little walkthrough. We already saw this one with the pink wooden button. And when we go to this one, there was also some pinkish notes on this page and the corresponding one here. I had this old piece of an earring that had these pink beads, and I cut this little vintage style little girl. We have some pink paper here. There's our lace. And I used some of the same elements to redo this belly band. You might remember in the very first round of this challenge, there was a belly band with slow stitching. It was the very first prompt of April, the very first prompt of the entire thing, and I actually hate what I made. So I took some of this pink paper that's the same as what you see here, and a couple more of these little kids, some of the same lace that you see here, and then this little dragonfly, and I just kind of collaged on top of the parts of the belly band that I didn't like. This little lace you can flip up to see this cute kiddo right there, and I like it way better than what I had made before. Next tab. So we had this jumbo tag that we made. I think this was also a, what was it? It was the layered tag and butterfly, also from April. And it has these bright purples. So on our page tab down here, I added, oops, sorry, I'm making noise. I added this piece of a white die cut and then a purple die cut flower. I sprayed some Villainous Potion on some scrapbook paper and cut out the flower head and added that there. We've got the little bit of lace behind. Then this one, I liked, oh, sorry, I keep smacking my scissors against the glass mat. That's noisy. I liked the idea of the vintage children, so I decided to do one of those in each of the signatures. So we added this little girl and her dog. I distressed the edges a little bit, put some aged looking dyed tape there, a piece of rope. There is lace underneath the little girl. It's just kind of hard to see, but there is some there. And there's also some lace on this pocket that Janie had made. So the tab actually goes on top of the pocket. Okay, and then of course the back side. I haven't shown you all the back sides of them, but you know, you get the idea. This one is the only one that's like facing the other way. So we have the back side first, and then here we simply have a peacock feather and a little brad there. I think this works kind of nicely with the green page before it, because you can see some of the green feathers peeking up, and it goes super well with the green colors that we have here. Sorry, my journal is way off kilter in the frame. But there we go. We have the peacock feather. Next one, another little kiddo. Simple piece of lace here with a flower on it. And then I did do a stamp on here. I have this stamp. You can see it's been used a lot. And I just colored on it with a metallic brass Sharpie, or copper, or whatever color you want to call this. So I used this, colored on the stamp, and stamped it down to make the little splatters on the girl. And so I will hold those up so you can see up close. Hopefully you can see them in this corner, in this corner. And then here I found a butterfly that I liked, even though it does have yellow on it. And again, just some lace and this wooden butterfly. And then the last one, Janie had made this gorgeous pocket here, and I still wanted to have the page tab be here. So I used some simple kind of scalloped lace, because this girl has a beautiful lace dress on, and I thought it would kind of mimic the lace of her dress. And yeah, it just goes over the end pocket there. So we have now completed multiple page tabs and lace. If you can't tell, this is going to be a long video, because we're going to do the other two prompts in this video as well. Hi. Thank you for sticking with me. Okay, next one, altered book page and florals. First thing I would like to do is choose a spot to add our altered book page. And I was thinking about putting one on top of one of the hymnal pages and leaving a little bit of the music. I don't want to do it here because we already have massive focal point there. I would actually really love to cover this hymn, because it is called "O Blessed Day of Motherhood," and I hate Mother's Day. I have a fantastic mom and wonderful grandmothers, and I'm making a whole lot of noise while I'm talking. Sorry, I'm trying to move stuff around. But I actually hate Mother's Day. And I know that a lot of women who are moms hate Mother's Day as well. This in itself is already a book page, but I'm going to add another book page on top of this and alter it and stuff so that we can create something here. And we also need to do some florals, and I'd like to pull in some colors that correspond with the peacock feather. I've got a big stack of book pages here. This one has some Hebrew text in it, which is really cool. Might be fun to grab one of the pages that has like all Hebrew. It almost looks upside down. It's kind of crazy. I mean, not crazy in a bad way, just like in a whoa, that's not how I'm used to reading text. What if we take, I've already taken off the top and bottom, and I've made marks for where I want to cut down this paper. It's really old. And sometimes with old paper, it's just as easy to just fold it and then tear along your fold line. Sometimes, depending on your paper cutter, but especially if you have a rotary cutter, they can tear old paper really easily. Plus, I like the look of the torn edge anyway, so let's do this. Let's ink it up. I have ground espresso out. Vintage Photo has a little bit more red tones in it, and it would work really nicely with this journal, but this is the one that I have sitting next to me. And even as I'm inking this up, you can see how easily that page just tore. So when you're working with old paper, just be careful.
Tuck spots hold the dreams we've spun.
All right, we're gonna end up not seeing really any of the sheet music, and I'm okay with that. One thing I did want to say about this hymn, the motherhood thing, no shade to Janie for putting it in here, none whatsoever. It's just, you know, it's just a thing that I have a really hard time with that holiday, and I don't like it. And I'm not criticizing her in any way, and I know that she wouldn't care if the page gets covered up. So there you go. Look at my hands. I dyed myself purple when I was making that flower with the villainous potion. We need florals, and I have some really fun stickers that have a lot of florals in them. These ones, and then I have another envelope of them. And all of these ones that I'm thinking of are really shiny stickers. That doesn't really matter. They have little bits of gold text on some of them. I also have some that are just flowers. These have like text and like old documents and stuff as part of the design of the sticker. I kind of like that one, but I also don't want all the stickers to have the little documents and stuff. So what if we take just that one? And then I also have this one that's floral stickers, and they just have the flowers on them. So let's do a little sort through here. I wouldn't mind just doing all green, but we do have that really gorgeous vibrant blue in the feather there that we could pick up on.
Pockets brimming with the morning sun. Journaling cards tell tales untold. Springtime whispers in a heart of gold.
Here's my thought, because I want to make an irregular triangle. I'm going to use this entire sticker. I'm going to pop this in the bottom corner here. And then to make an irregular triangle so that it causes the eye to look for the blue, we're going to use a couple of these blossoms, but I'm going to fussy cut around them. I think that's all she wrote. I don't think we need to do anything else. We could add a sentiment, but here's all our words. Just because we can't read most of them doesn't mean they're not words there. We do have some English words down here, and we see glorious, majestic, giant, silence, tranquility, and right. I like the triangle that we have here. My brain's telling me, oh, but you could add like a piece of lace up here, and all that. But no. We're gonna keep this prompt simple. We spent a ton of time on the last one, and let's just do this one as a simple one. The last one's gonna be another time-consuming one anyway. We have loaded tag and bright pop of color. Loaded tags take time. All right, I have a piece of cardstock. This is the number flash cards that I showed you before, and it is 4.5 inches by, let's see, 7.5. And I had it on a 12 by 12 piece of paper, so we had the rest of this 4.5 inch strip. I cut a little triangle off, and then what was left was this triangle, and I thought, I bet I could make some pockets with these for our loaded tag. So I want to make sure that I ink these and that it really shows up to help, you know, differentiate where our pockets are and the edges of the paper. You know what I mean?
Paintbrush trails blue as seasons bloom fair. Friendships found in lace and papered care. Through each line we scroll or corner we press. It's art that binds us tight with no regrets. Tuck spots hold the dreams we've spun.
And we're supposed to have a bright pop of color somewhere on here. And I would like to maybe pull in some peacock feathers. I have this oxide spray here. And my thought was to make another tag to sit inside of here. And I have this piece of paper that I experimented on with some spritz and embossing glaze a little while ago. I'm not sure when that video was posted, but yeah, sometime. And I thought, you know what, let's just do like some splattery sprays on top of here, and this will be our bam pop of color that we see when we look at this loaded tag. This is really interesting. The embossing glaze is acting as a resist, so it's just beating up on top of all of the numbers. I think it looks cool. And I have now dyed the inside of this joint in peacock feathers. That's lovely. It's not as dark as the Villainous Potion. All right, I told you at the beginning of this video that this project was going to require some sugar for my brain. I ate both of my raspberry taffies and I'm still not sure what to do with this. I've cut it down to the size that I want and cut the tag shape. This will get tucked into one of the pockets. Will it go into the big one? No, it will not. Okay, so it'll have to get tucked into the front one. Oh, that's not what I wanted though. Okay, I'm gonna have to trim it down even narrower. This makes me sad every time I have to cut a piece of this off, but we can put it in the scrap bowl. Okay, yeah, that's gonna go in a whole lot better. But it can't just be that alone. We need to decorate, and I think this tag needs a Tim Holtz person, a paper doll, and maybe something else texture elements wise. All right, we're gonna put this guy here. We need something for him to stand on. He can't just be floating. And I'd like to create some kind of texture there without getting it too terribly thick because we have to get it back into the loaded tag. I really like this thing with numbers, but I don't want the green pieces, and he just needs something to like stand on or stand behind, so I think we're just gonna cut this strip of numbers out right here. So we have numbers on numbers. You might need something else non-numbery. What if we take this piece of typewriter ad?
Pockets brimming with the morning sun. Journaling cards tell tales untold. Springtime whispers in a heart of gold.
All right, the rest of the things that we put in this tag need to be pretty neutral because this is our bam pop of color. So I have this little envelope that came in a fairy loot box with some magnetic bookmarks in it. And I thought we could collage on top of it, maybe with some of those old book pages and things that I have lying around. So we will grab my book page stack here. True facts. Even back in the day, they had to tell you, no, these facts are true ones. They're not fake news.
Got my scissors, glue, and a needle in hand. Sewing pages together, making something grand. Tuck spots and pockets, a place to hide. Memories and treasures I keep inside.
I'm going to turn it upside down because along here we have some of the book binding glue that's like hardened and aged really darkly. Can you see that? And I want that to show, so I'm going to put it on this side. And I just had a thought of something that I would like to try if I can find my right embossing glaze. Here we go. So this is Rusty Hinge, and I would like to emboss it by just using some water splatters as the wet medium for the embossing glaze to cling on to. So I'm gonna make a little puddle in my hand and then go bam, like that. I want a little bit more towards the top. We'll just do a little spritz there. My prompt list I've been using for embossing stuff for months now. Probably shouldn't, but you know what? We already have.
Oh, it's a junk journal jubilee, crafting a story that's just for me. Lace and fabric, antique papers too, turning the old into something new. Vintage photos and ephemera galore. Each little piece tells a tale to explore. Belly bands holding journaling cards tight. Every page a canvas, a joy to write.
So there we go. We embossed kind of splattery shapes. And this helps with cohesiveness because the embossing powder we used here was the same color. We want some kind of focal point on here. Aw, I bumped up against the little like real aged bookbinding glue and knocked it off of there. See if we can glue it back on. It's so beautiful, I don't want to lose it. I have this wax seal that's like a beautiful color match. I'm just not sure what to put with it. Sorry, I got a little carried away. I started playing with things and I just started gluing stuff down. So I have just like a little bundle of black string thread. Kind of a transparent butterfly. I didn't want to cover up that yummy embossing that we just did. And then I put the wax seal that I had picked out. So the front of the envelope is covered and I'm letting the glue dry as Fabri-Tac, and it's still a little bit wet on this top part, but it will get tucked into the front pocket here. Like this, our little man on the colorful tag will get completely covered up. And then I feel like we need to decorate and then maybe decorate here also, because then we can have a surprise when we pull this thing out. We need to just like maybe grab my scrap bowl and pull some pieces to do a bit of collaging with on the pockets and such. So let's see what I can find.
Oh, it's a junk journal jubilee, crafting a story that's just for me. Lace and fabric, antique papers too, turning the old into something new. Threads of gold stitching through the seams, binding together my hopes and dreams. Every corner's crafted with tender care, a world of wonder tucked in there.
We've got quite a good little pile of things here, and the last thing I pulled out of the scrap bowl was this piece of fabric with some words on it. And I thought maybe let's use some words to break up all the numbers, because this tag we had numbers on numbers and then there's numbers on the loaded tag itself. So I'm thinking maybe this will just be in the background on the big piece of the tag, which, had I known, would have been glued down first before the pockets. Usually I'll use Fabri-Tac for working on fabric, but because of the fiddly nature of this piece, we might try our glitter glue and just see if it will hold it.
Sewing signatures under the lamplights glow. With every stitch.
That was not bad, actually. And I found this piece of a jelly print, and it is gonna go on top of the fabric. Let's see. Just for some contrast, we have the dark here and the light. If you're gonna make a loaded tag, you gotta load it up, right? We got to. We don't want to go too crazy back here because most of the time we're not going to see it. In fact, we won't see the fabric at all when this tag is tucked in. We'll see a little bit of the jelly plate print. there. And then I would like to have this piece of leather with the zipper maybe sticking out like that. All right, so we've just got the zipper sticking out of the side. When this gets tucked in, that will be poking out underneath. And then I would like something on top here. This piece might be nice to use because it's got the black there. Again, getting more of the dark colors. We also have this that's quite dark. Ooh, kind of like that. Okay, tearing obviously was not the right answer for that one.
My passion starts to show. A patchwork of love in every little space, bound together with ribbon and lace. Oh, it's a jungle jubilee, crafting a story that's just for me. Lace and fabric, antique papers too, turning the...
Now, if I turn it like this, you can see things are popping out quite a bit. I have this little tiny tag and it's got some string, and I thought we could decorate the tag, put the string back onto it and tie it around to kind of like keep it all together.
Fold into something new. Vintage photos and ephemera galore. Each little piece tells a tale to explore. Belly bands holding journaling cards tight. Every page a canvas of joy to write. Threads of gold stitching through the seams, binding together my hopes and dreams. Every corner's crafted with tender care, a world of wonder tucked in there. Threads of gold stitching through the seams, binding together my hopes and dreams. Every corner's crafted with tender care, a world of wonder tucked in there. Sewing signatures under the lamplights glow. With every stitch, my passion starts to show. A patchwork of love in every little space, bound together with ribbon and lace.
I'm struggling with this string. I put a butterfly on the tag and then took it off because it was too much. We're just gonna have a plain tag. And we're gonna bring this around. Bring it around the other side. Get the tag put where we want it. Tie a bow. Snip. All right, there we have a loaded tag with a bright pop of color. And now we have to put it into the journal. So we have one of these ledger pages that flips out, and there is a tuck spot here. So let's see if we can get her in here. We can go like that, or we can put her in upside down. Like that, which I kind of like better. And there we go. And that means that prompt number 5 is done, and we're now done with spring into summer. Oh, that's so crazy. I don't know if I'm going to do a final flip through on this or not. So in case I don't, because, you know, summertime, things are going a little bit crazy right now. I'm just going to say thank you all so much for joining Janie and I on this challenge. If you haven't watched Janie's videos, please go check her out at the Crafting Bookworm. And I will see you all in whatever I come up with next, or you know, whatever Janie and I come up with. Who knows? And let me know if you'd like to see another collaboration between Janie and I in the future, or more of a swap like we used to do, or if you have other ideas for just me to do here on the channel for junk journaling. I have some ideas going, but sometimes you guys might have something better. So don't be afraid to hit me up in the comments. If you're not sure what to say but want to let me know you are here, leave a book emoji for me or something related to spring. And in the meantime, I want you all to have a wonderful, magical, and bookish day. Happy reading, crafting, or journaling. Adios.